Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of Matthew. Today we're looking at Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30. This is the second parable Jesus tells to teach us about the nature of the second coming. It is the parable of the talents. Let me begin to read it to you. Now again, it refers to the coming of the Son. It would be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2 talents, to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on the journey. The man who had received 5 talents went at once, put his money to work, gained 5 talents more. So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts. The man who'd received 5 talents brought the other 5. Master, he said, you have entrusted me with 5 talents. I've gained 5 more. His master replied, well done. You are a good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things, so I put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. As you continue to read the parable, the servant who had 2 talents brought the 2 he had additionally earned and received the same commendation. You're good, a faithful servant. Come into the joy of your master. But the servant who had simply dug a hole and hid his talent in the ground was rebuked for not putting his talent to work for the Lord or for his master. Now, obviously, the master represents Jesus. He is returning. And in the meantime, before he returns, he has entrusted talents to his servants, to the disciples, to the church. Now remember that a talent in biblical times is a measurement of money, not a natural ability. In our day, when we talk about a talent, we're talking about a natural ability we have. But in biblical times, it was a term for money. So each of these servants has received some resources, some wealth, some money, and they are to put them to work for the master. When he returns, he will expect an accounting of what we did with the resources at our disposal. The 2 servants who had put their money to work and had earned more for the master, who had advanced the kingdom, in other words, they are praised. You did well. You're faithful. You were good. You used what I gave you and advanced the kingdom. You prospered the kingdom, as it were. But the one who simply hid his talent and did nothing with it was rebuked for not putting his talent to work. Now, we know that this parable is primarily about the second coming. So what Jesus is telling us is that I will return. But while I'm gone, in the in-between, you wait for me, you ready yourself for my return by taking what I've placed at your disposal, the talents. So whatever I've given to you, put them to work for the kingdom. A disciple is ready for his master to return when he is busily about the work of the kingdom, taking whatever means and whatever resources God has placed at his disposal to prosper the kingdom, to advance the kingdom, to witness to the king, and to win souls for Christ. So the servants who are busily using what God has given them for the purposes of the kingdom of God, for witness to Jesus, they are the ones who are ready and are praised when the Lord returns. However, if we do not use what God has given us for him, if we hide our resources, hide our talents, refuse to use them, we will not be ready for the joy when the master returns. It's all about what we said yesterday. Keeping watch is keeping yourself busy doing the mission of the kingdom, using the resources, the talents God has given you to do kingdom work. So whatever talents God has placed in your hand, whatever resources, whatever abilities, yes, whatever means God has given you, use it for him. Use it for the kingdom. Advance the kingdom of God. Give joyful witness to the king. Prosper God's kingdom by your service. And when the Lord returns, you'll be ready. And he'll praise you because you were about the mission that I gave you to do. Now, all of us have different resources. All of us have different talents, we all have different means. God distributes his gifts as he chooses. But for all of us, whatever it be, whether we have 5 talents or 2 talents or 1, doesn't matter. Whatever God gives us, he wants us to put to use for his kingdom. And more than anything, I, like you, want to hear the King Jesus say when he returns. I want to hear him say, you've done well. You've been a good and faithful servant. You've used what I gave you for the purposes of my kingdom. That's what the parable teaches us about being ready for the second coming, and also about simply being involved in the work of Jesus' kingdom on this earth. You have a great day today, and I'll see you next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of Matthew.